Good morning, Boker Tov. How are you? It's Tuesday. It must be Torah Tuesday. Yay! The sun is shining, the birds are singing. It's a little chilly, but life is good. I hope everybody's okay where you are. I hope life is good. This week, this is it. Genesis. No more Genesis. It's the last chapter in Genesis. Vayechi. Okay? Vayechi. The last one. Jacob says goodbye to Joseph. And we go into Shemot next week. Shemot is Exodus. We start the Exodus saga. And it is a saga. Boy, it is a saga. You thought the patriarchs was a trip. Wait till you get to Moses. You'll just dig him. You will like him a lot. So, where are we? Well, Jacob, commonly known as Israel, commonly known as Jacob, i.e., is now 147 years old. He's been dying for a little while now, about 20 years or so. And Jacob he's on his deathbed now. It's almost over. This time it's for real, okay? And he calls for Joseph, and he says, while you're getting Joseph, while you're at it, get his two sons. And they go, why? Just do it. Okay, they do it. So Joseph comes with his two sons, okay? And Jacob says, I'm dying. I decided to bless your kids. What I want to do is adopt your kids into our family, and I want to give them my blessing. Okay? So Joseph brings his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Okay? And Jacob's, he's like, he can't hardly see because he's really old and really weak. Okay? And he takes his hands and he places his right hand on Ephraim and he places his left hand on Manasseh. Well, when you gave a blessing, your right hand is the one you used for the older son. Ephraim is the youngest. You remember this pattern here? What happened with Isaac? What happened with Jacob? What happened? There's a pattern going here. The second born, the youngest child, has been getting the blessings from the patriarchs. It's continuing now. Okay? So, interesting, because you would have thought maybe Jacob might have cut it out, with all the games no, he continues it. Okay? And of course he makes Joseph promise a couple of things. One, when I die, don't bury me here. Bury me home in the land of Canaan. Okay? And okay, let me bless your sons. Let me adopt your sons so I can bless them. So, what's going on with this? Well, the rabbis teach us that this blessing, he was really blessing Joseph, but he couldn't really bless Joseph because Benjamin is the youngest, so Joseph was the second from the youngest. And everybody knew he was his favorite anyway, and how'd that work out for him? So, what he does is, he blesses his two kids instead, okay? And so Jacob has one more trick up his sleeve. Instead of blessing Joseph directly, Jacob adopts Joseph's sons, saying they're as much his as Reuben and Simon are. So Ephraim and Manasseh become his youngest sons. With Ephraim, the very youngest, Jacob places his hands on the head of the two boys, but the Torah states Jacob blessed Joseph. See what's going on here? The two kids are the ones getting the blessing, but Jacob is blessing his son Joseph. So he's still his favorite son. Okay? The other thing that happens is Jacob says to Joseph, El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me, and said to me, I will make you fruitful and numerous. I will assign this land to your offspring to come for an everlasting possession. Sound familiar? Remember when God approaches Abraham? Remember when he makes the deal with Isaac? Your people will be as big as the stars. Your people will be... Right. But here's the interesting part. Jacob said to Joseph, El Shaddai. He calls God El Shaddai. Not Hashem, not any of his formal names. He calls him Shaddai, El Shaddai. Now, where do we see today El Shaddai is pretty much not used anymore? Okay, so where do we see it today? On our mezuzahs. Remember there's a shin on our mezuzahs? That's what it stands for, Shaddai. Okay, interesting, huh? Okay. All these little facts, all these little things, all these little pieces of the puzzle. Okay, so where is, you know how there's always a quote or there's always something to remember from this, right? Well, this time the quote to remember is, God made you like Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay, so what he's saying is you should be as pure and as good as Joseph's sons. Okay, what else do I want to tell you? So after he gets done doing it, Jacob dies. Joseph fulfills his promise. Now, of course, as soon as Jacob dies, what happens? Okay, the other sons freak out. Because let's face it, they were worried about retribution, but there was no retribution from Joseph, okay, because Jacob was around, okay. Joseph fulfills his promise and there is no retribution, okay. He brings back, and everybody comes with him, and they all go back to the land of Canaan and they bury Jacob, okay. Now remember, this is interesting, okay. Remember, his name is also Israel. So why do we keep talking about Jacob right now? Shouldn't we be talking about Israel? Okay. No, we're talking about Jacob. Okay. Which is interesting because the theme of this last part of Genesis is Israel in Egypt. But yet we're talking about Jacob, we're not talking about Israel. Okay. Is that because we're not talking about him in the holy way? Well, in the holy sense. Is it a bit of verbiage? That's for you to decide on that one. All right, so what else is this? After all, this is the last line. This is where the patriarchs stop. Okay, when we say the patriarchs, we say who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The matriarchs are who? The wives. Okay, the 4 matriarchs. 3 patriarchs, 4 matriarchs. It stops here, okay? Is Moses a patriarch? No. Okay, he's not from the same bloodline. So it's we don't do that, okay? Okay, so that finishes it, okay? We are done with Genesis, okay? So what do we say when we finish a book in Torah? We say, Chazak, Chazak, v'nichazak. Be strong, and may you be strengthened. Okay? In other words, congratulations on finishing another book, is basically what we're saying to you. Okay? Congratulations, you just finished another book. Okay? So whenever we finish reading, okay, now we finished Genesis, next will be Shemot, and we'll start that next week. We'll meet Moses, and we'll go through the Egypt saga. All right? All right. Until then, have a wonderful week, and I hope everybody's okay. And send me emails, send me these wonderful little texts. I love when those messages, oh, hi, Katie, and all the kinds of stuff show up on the screen. It's really cool. And until next week, until next Tuesday, I will see you then. Peace out.